Okay, so you know how everyone's talking about cybersecurity these days?
Yeah.
Well, today, we're diving into something that's been making a lot of noise in that world.
Okay.
Security Service Edge, or SSE.
Ah, SSE.
You've probably heard the term, but maybe you're not exactly sure what it is.
Right.
And with remote work and all these cloud apps, security has gotten
Yeah, a lot more complicated.
way more complex.
Definitely.
It's not just about guarding a single building anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like we're trying to secure a whole city.
Yeah, like a sprawling city with people working from everywhere
Exactly.
and accessing data from all over the place.
So to put it simply, what exactly is SSE?
Well, Gartner actually defines SSE as securing access to websites,
Okay.
SaaS apps, and private apps, no matter where they live.
So it's about protecting access to things outside the traditional company network,
Exactly.
which is especially important now with so many people working remotely.
Exactly. It's become crucial in this age of hybrid work and, all these cloud-based apps.
Okay, so why all this fuss about SSE? Is it really that important?
It really is.
Okay.
Think about it. The way we work has completely changed.
Right.
We have more people working remotely than ever before.
Yeah.
Companies are relying heavily on cloud applications and traditional security measures like those old school firewalls.
Right, the ones that just guard the office network?
Yeah, those just can't keep up with this new reality.
They're not enough anymore.
Not even close.
So what are the risks then if companies don't have SSE in place?
Well, the biggest risk is obviously data breaches.
Oh.
Attacks targeting home networks have actually spiked
Really?
by almost 20% since the rise of remote work.
Wow.
That's a huge increase.
So it's not just hype. There's a real danger here.
Absolutely.
People might think, oh, I'm just one person working from home.
Right.
What's the big deal?
Yeah, I'm not a target.
Right, exactly.
But the truth is,
Yeah.
everyone's a potential target.
Oh.
We're talking about potential data breaches that could affect anyone.
So give me an example, like how could this actually impact someone?
Let's say someone is accessing their company's sensitive financial data
Okay.
from a public Wi-Fi network, like at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
That's a huge risk.
Yeah.
Or think about your own personal information, your banking details,
Yeah.
health records, even your social media.
Right.
All of that could be exposed in a data breach.
And the consequences could be
Devastating.
Yeah.
Both for individuals and businesses.
Okay, yeah, that paints a pretty clear picture of the dangers.
Yeah.
So how does SSE actually work then?
Well, think of it as a super smart security checkpoint.
Yeah.
Every time you try to access something, like a file, an app, whatever,
Yeah.
SSE steps in and checks a few things.
Okay.
First, it verifies who you are.
Like checking my ID.
Exactly.
Okay.
But it goes deeper than that.
Oh.
It also looks at what device you're using, where you're connecting from.
So my location too.
Yes, and even the context of your request.
The context.
Like, what are you trying to access and why?
So it's not just checking my ID at the door.
No.
It's constantly evaluating the risk based on all these different factors.
Precisely.
That's pretty impressive.
It's a lot more secure than those old VPNs we used to rely on.
Yeah, I remember those.
They were clunky
Slow.
and not always that secure.
Yeah, they were a real pain.
They basically create a tunnel back to the company network.
Right.
But that tunnel itself can be vulnerable.
Oh, I see.
SSE is designed to be more agile and context-aware.
So it's about creating a secure connection no matter where you are.
Yes.
Or what you're accessing.
Exactly.
Okay, so how does it actually do all that?
Well, there are 5 main capabilities that you'll typically find in an SSE solution.
Okay, let's hear them.
First up is access control.
Okay.
This makes sure that only the right people and devices can access specific data and apps.
So it's like having personalized key cards for each employee.
That's a good analogy.
Granting them access to only the areas they need.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
But access control alone isn't enough.
Right. You need to have rules around what people can actually do once they're in.
You got it.
So what's next?
Next, we have acceptable use policies.
Okay, what are those?
Think of it like setting up guardrails for online behavior.
Okay.
For example, you could use SSE to stop people from downloading massive amounts of sensitive data.
So preventing data leaks.
Exactly. Or you could restrict access to certain cloud storage providers that don't meet your security standards.
So it's about preventing risky behavior, even from authorized users.
Right.
Okay, that's important.
It is.
What about the data itself, though? How does SSE protect the actual information?
That's where data security capabilities come in.
Okay.
We're talking about encryption, data loss prevention tools, and other measures to ensure that sensitive information is always protected.
Can you give me an example of that in action?
Sure. Imagine an employee accidentally uploads a confidential file to a public cloud storage service.
Oh, yeah.
SSE can prevent that with data loss prevention policies and automatic encryption of sensitive data.
So it's like having a safety net.
Yeah, I could say that.
All right, so we've got access control, acceptable use policies, and data security. What are the last two pieces of the puzzle?
Okay, so the fourth element is threat protection, which is all about actively blocking malware, phishing attacks, and other cyber threats.
So it's like having a team of security guards constantly on the lookout.
Exactly.
Watching for suspicious activity.
Yeah, and stepping in to neutralize any threats.
Before they can cause harm.
Exactly, okay.
Makes sense. And the final capability.
The fifth one is security monitoring.
So this is about having eyes everywhere.
Yes.
So you can see what's happening and respond quickly.
Precisely. It provides continuous visibility into network and user activity, allowing security teams to detect and respond to potential threats in real time.
So it's like a security camera feed.
Yeah.
That alerts you to any unusual behavior.
Exactly.
So you can take action before it's too late.
Right.
All right, so now we have a pretty good understanding of what SSE is and how it works.
Yeah.
But I know a lot of people are probably wondering about how it relates to another term we hear a lot. SaaS.
Oh, yeah, that's a common question.
Are the same thing?
Not exactly.
Okay.
The simple answer is that SSE is a part of SaaS.
Part of it? Okay, so remind me, what does SASE stand for again?
Secure Access Service Edge.
Secure Access Service Edge, okay.
And it's a broader framework that encompasses both security and networking functions.
So if SSE is about securing access to applications and data,
yes,
is SaaS about managing the entire network infrastructure that those applications rely on?
Precisely. You could think of it this way.
Okay.
SaaS is the entire car.
Okay.
While SSE is the engine ensuring a safe and smooth ride.
Okay, that's a good analogy.
It is.
So SSE is just one piece of the puzzle.
Yes.
But it often needs to work with other security tools, right?
Absolutely.
Like what?
Well, one big one is Identity and Access Management, or IAM.
IAM, okay.
This handles user authentication and authorization.
Okay.
Making sure you are who you say you are before granting access to anything.
That's important.
Definitely.
And what about managed detection and response?
Oh, MDR.
Yeah, MDR.
That's a critical one, too.
It sounds pretty intense.
It is.
What does it actually do?
Imagine having a 247 security operations center monitoring your network for threats. That's essentially what MDR does.
Or it's like a dedicated security team.
Yeah, they act as an extension of your security team.
Constantly analyzing data, hunting for threats,
exactly,
and responding in real time to neutralize any attacks.
That's right.
Okay, then we have SD-WAN too, right?
Yes, SD-WAN stands for Software-Defined Wide Area Network.
All right, SD-WAN.
It enhances connectivity and network performance while maintaining security.
So it's like upgrading the network infrastructure.
You could say that.
Making sure data flows smoothly and securely.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered IAM, MDR, and SD-WAN. What about CM and SOAR?
Those are important too.
I know they're acronyms, but remind me what they stand for.
CM stands for Security Information and Event Management.
Okay.
It collects and analyzes security data from across your entire network.
So it's like a central intelligence hub.
Exactly. It helps you identify patterns and spot potential threats.
Okay, and what about SO?
SOAR stands for Security Orchestration, Automation, and Response.
Right.
And it basically automates security tasks and incident response processes.
So it's like having a team of robots handling the repetitive tasks.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it.
So your human experts can focus on the bigger picture.
Exactly.
That's a lot of acronyms to keep track of.
I know, right?
But it sounds like all of these integrations really work together.
They do.
To enhance the power of SSE. Okay, so let's shift gears a bit.
Okay.
And talk about why companies should actually implement SSE. What's in it for them?
Well, there are several compelling benefits.
Okay, let's hear them.
First and foremost, it dramatically strengthens remote security.
Okay.
Which is absolutely critical in today's world of hybrid work.
Right, because traditional security measures just aren't enough anymore.
Exactly.
So SSE provides a much more secure and reliable way to protect remote workers and their access to company resources.
Precisely.
That's peace of mind for both the company and the employees.
It is.
Knowing that sensitive data is protected wherever it's accessed.
Right.
But does this level of security come at a cost to performance?
That's a great question.
I can imagine all this real-time scanning and analysis slowing things down.
You'd think so, but actually one of the big benefits of SSE is that it can actually improve network performance.
Oh, really?
By eliminating the need to backhaul traffic through a central data center, SSE reduces latency and allows for faster access to cloud applications and data.
So, better security and a faster network.
You got it.
That's a win-win.
It is.
But managing all these different components and integrations
Yeah.
sounds pretty complex.
It can be.
Doesn't SSE require a huge IT team to keep everything running smoothly?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
That's another area where SSE can actually be beneficial.
Whoa.
It can simplify security management
Really? How?
by consolidating multiple security functions into a single platform.
Ah, so instead of juggling a dozen different tools,
Right.
IT teams can manage everything from a central location.
Exactly, which saves time, reduces complexity,
Okay.
and allows for a more efficient use of resources.
So better security, improved performance,
Mm-hmm.
and easier management.
That's right.
Are there any other advantages?
Yes, SSE also enhances user visibility and control.
Okay.
It gives you a much clearer picture of what's happening on your network.
I see.
You can monitor user activity, detect potential threats in real time, and enforce policies based on identity, context, and risk.
That sounds powerful.
It is. It gives you a much stronger security posture overall.
A lot of benefits tacked into one solution.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing there are different ways to implement SSE.
You're right. It's not one size fits all.
Okay, what are the options?
Well, some organizations opt for a multi-vendor approach.
Okay.
They select separate vendors for each security capability
Mm-hmm.
and integrate them manually.
So it's a more customized approach.
Yeah, it gives you flexibility in choosing the best-of-breed solutions for each need.
Okay.
But it can be complex to manage and maintain.
So that probably requires a pretty skilled IT team.
It does.
What about the other option?
The other option is a unified SSE solution from a single vendor.
Okay.
This simplifies deployment and management,
Thanks.
making it easier to get up and running quickly
Okay.
without having to manage a complex web of integration.
So that's probably better for companies with smaller IT teams?
Yes, or those with less specialized expertise.
It's like choosing between building your own custom computer
Yeah.
and buying a pre-built one.
That's a great analogy.
Both have their pros and cons.
Exactly.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
But before we move on, I want to hear your thoughts on one key question.
Okay, shoot.
What would you say is the single biggest takeaway that companies should remember about SSE?
I think the most important thing is to remember that SSE is not just a technology solution.
Okay,
It's a strategic approach to security.
I like that.
It's about recognizing that in today's world,
Yeah,
the perimeter is no longer the focal point of defense.
right, it's crumbled.
Exactly.
Got it.
Security needs to be embedded into every user,
Mm-hmm.
every device,
Yeah.
and every connection.
So it's about a more holistic approach.
It is, and SSE empowers organizations to do just that.
Okay.
It helps them protect their data, their users,
Yeah.
and their reputation in this new era of distributed work and cloud computing.
It's about adapting to the changing landscape,
Yes.
not just playing catch-up with the latest threats.
It's about building a foundation for a more secure and resilient future.
That's a great way to put it.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Oh.
Because as we look ahead,
Yeah?
SSE is evolving to meet the challenges of tomorrow.
Okay, tell me more.
In part 2 of our deep dive,
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
explore some of the trends shaping the future of SSE.
Okay, all right.
Things like the growing convergence with SASE,
Mm-hmm.
the rise of AI and machine learning in security, and the increasing role of automation.
Sounds fascinating.
It is.
I can't wait to dive into that.
Well, we'll be back soon to uncover those trends and explore how SSE is preparing businesses for what lies ahead in the world of cybersecurity.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to the deep dive. In part 1, we got a really good understanding what SSE is and how it works, but
Yeah.
now I want to kind of see how it actually plays out in the real world.
Yeah.
Like, can you walk me through some actual scenarios
Abs-
where SSE makes a difference?
Absolutely. Let's say you're working from home and you need to access
Okay.
a sensitive financial report
Okay.
that's stored on your company's server.
All right.
Without SSE, this could be a risky move, especially
Yeah.
if your home network isn't as secure as the company's.
Right. Makes sense.
But with SSE in place, things look a little different.
Okay. How so?
First, it verifies your identity,
Okay.
maybe through multi-factor authentication,
Okay.
requiring a code from your phone or something.
Right. Right.
Then it goes a bit deeper and assesses the context of your request.
The context.
Like, is the device you're using known to be secure?
Oh, okay.
How about your Wi-Fi network?
So it's looking at the security of my environment, too.
Exactly. It's checking if your Wi-Fi is encrypted
Yeah.
and password protected.
So it's not just about who I am,
Right.
but also how I'm connecting.
Exactly.
That makes sense. But wouldn't all those checks slow things down?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah, like I can imagine it being frustrating
Yeah.
to wait forever just to open a file.
But SSE is designed to be both secure and efficient.
Okay.
The risk assessment happens in real time, usually in a matter of milliseconds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So if everything checks out, you get access to the report seamlessly.
Okay, that's good.
But let's say you're connecting from a coffee shop's public Wi-Fi,
Right.
which is generally considered less secure.
Yeah, for sure.
In that case, SSE might step in and enforce additional security measures,
Like what?
like requiring you to connect through a secure VPN tunnel.
So it adjusts to the level of risk.
Precisely. It's like a dynamic security system.
Okay, that's pretty cool.
It is.
What about a scenario where we're dealing with a team
Okay.
collaborating on a project?
Yeah.
How does SSE protect the data and communication within that group?
Let's imagine a marketing team
Okay.
working on a new campaign
Mm-hmm.
using a cloud-based project management tool.
Right.
In this case, SSE can create a secure virtual workspace, ensuring that only authorized team members have access to the project resources.
So it's like a digital war room
Yeah, you could say that.
with strict access controls.
Exactly.
And within that war room, could SSE also prevent things like accidental data leaks?
Absolutely.
Or someone trying to share sensitive info outside the team?
It can. SSE can monitor activity within that workspace,
Okay.
flagging any behavior that deviates from the established security policies.
Okay.
So let's say someone tries to download a large amount of sensitive data or share files with an external email address.
Right.
SSE would detect this and could either block the action entirely
Okay.
or alert the security team for further investigation.
So it's like having a security guard inside the war room, too.
You got it.
That level of control and monitoring is impressive.
It is.
It really is.
It's powerful.
Yeah, I'm thinking about the bigger picture.
Okay.
We talked about zero trust security earlier.
Right.
And I'm wondering how SSE fits into that whole framework,
That's a great question.
because it seems related.
It is. SSE is actually a critical enabler of zero trust security.
Okay, so remind me,
Yeah.
what is zero trust again?
So the traditional approach to security, what we call the castle and moat model,
Right.
focused on protecting the perimeter of the network.
The perimeter.
But as you know,
Yeah.
the rise of cloud computing and remote work has made that perimeter increasingly irrelevant.
It's like the castle walls have crumbled.
Exactly.
And everyone's working from their own little outposts.
Yeah, scattered all over the digital landscape.
Right, exactly.
So zero trust recognizes that there is no longer a well-defined perimeter.
Okay.
And assumes that threats can come from anywhere, both inside and outside the organization.
Makes sense.
So instead of blindly trusting anyone or any device within the network,
Right.
zero trust requires verification at every single access attempt.
So it's like scrutinizing everyone
Yes.
at every door, every window, all the time.
You got it.
Yeah, that sounds pretty intense.
It is intense. Yeah.
But necessary in today's threat landscape.
Right.
And SSE provides the tools to make that level of scrutiny possible.
Okay.
It enables continuous monitoring, granular access controls,
Okay.
and dynamic policy enforcement based on real-time risk assessment.
So SSE is really the backbone of a zero trust strategy.
You could say that, yes.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Now, we've talked a lot about the present,
Right.
but I'm curious about what the future holds for SSE.
Yeah.
What are some of the trends that are shaping its evolution?
One of the most significant trends is the convergence of SSE and SaaS.
Oh, okay.
Remember we talked about SaaS being the broader framework?
Yeah, that includes both security and networking.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or we're seeing more and more vendors offering solutions that combine both of those capabilities.
So it's like blurring the lines between the security guard and the network architect.
Precisely. You have one system that handles both the traffic flow and the security checks.
Okay, that's interesting. It is, and this convergence makes a lot of sense.
Why?
It simplifies management, reduces complexity, and ultimately leads to a more robust and efficient security posture.
Right. It streamlines everything.
Exactly.
So what else is on the horizon for SSE?
Another exciting trend is the increasing use of artificial intelligence.
Oh, AI.
Yes, AI and machine learning in SSE.
AI and ML are everywhere these days.
They are, and for good reason.
Yeah.
They're great at analyzing vast amounts of data
Right.
and identifying patterns and anomalies that humans might miss.
Okay, so in the context of SSE, what does that look like?
It means AI and ML can help detect and respond to threats more quickly and accurately.
Okay.
Imagine an AI-powered system that learns your normal network activity patterns
Okay.
and then flags any deviations that could indicate a potential attack.
Wow, that's impressive.
It is.
But wouldn't that also raise concerns about false positives?
Yeah, that's a valid point.
Like if the system is too sensitive, it could block legitimate activity.
That's true, and it's something developers are actively working on.
Yeah.
The goal is to strike the right balance between sensitivity and accuracy.
Right. You don't want to be blocking everything.
Exactly.
So how do they do that?
It's about training the AI
Okay.
to recognize the subtle nuances of malicious behavior
Hmm.
while minimizing the chances of false alarms.
So it's not just about having the smartest algorithms.
No.
It's also about teaching them to be discerning
Yeah.
and context aware.
Exactly.
Okay.
Another area where AI and ML are proving valuable is in automating security tasks.
Automation. Okay.
You know, security teams are facing increasingly sophisticated threats
Right.
and a shortage of skilled professionals.
Yeah, that's the problem.
It is. So automation is becoming essential.
For streamlining things.
Yes, for streamlining security operations and improving efficiency.
So it's like having virtual security analysts working behind the scenes.
Got it.
Analyzing data, identifying threats, and even taking actions to contain attacks. That's pretty amazing.
It is, and this is just the beginning.
Really?
As AI and ML technologies continue to advance, we can expect even more innovative applications within SSE.
So the future of SSE is all about becoming smarter, faster, and more proactive.
That's a great way to put it.
It's about anticipating threats
Yes.
before they even emerge.
Yes.
And automating responses to stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And it's not just about technology. It's also about shifting our mindset.
Oh, okay. How so?
We need to move beyond the reactive approach of waiting for something bad to happen.
Yeah, like just waiting for an attack?
Exactly. SSE is about building a proactive
Okay.
and adaptable security posture.
And that can evolve as the threats evolve.
Precisely.
Okay, so we've seen how SSE works in real-world scenarios.
Yeah.
Explored its role in zero-trust security, and even peeked into the exciting future that AI and ML are shaping.
It's a lot to take in.
It is. But before we move on to the final part of our discussion,
Okay.
I want to ask you one more question. For all the listeners out there who are thinking about implementing SSE, what is one crucial piece of advice you would give them?
I would say this.
Right.
Don't treat SSE as just another technology checkbox to tick off.
Okay.
See it as an opportunity to fundamentally rethink your approach to security.
Okay.
Embrace the principles of zero trust. Invest in the right tools and training.
Okay.
And foster a culture of security awareness within your organization.
So it's a holistic approach.
It is. Remember, security is not just about technology.
It's about people, too.
Yes, it's about people, processes, and a commitment to continuous improvement.
That's great advice.
Thank you.
SSE is not a silver bullet.
Right.
It's a journey towards a more secure and resilient future.
Exactly.
And in part 3 of our deep dive,
Okay.
we'll equip you with the practical knowledge to embark on that journey.
Sounds good.
We'll delve into the steps involved in implementing SSE,
All right.
discuss key considerations for choosing the right solution, and provide some tips for ensuring a successful deployment.
Awesome.
Join us soon for the final leg of our SSE exploration. All right, welcome back to the deep dive for the final part of our exploration of SSE. We've covered the what, the why, and the how it's evolving, but now I want to get down to the nitty-gritty.
Okay, that sounds good.
Let's talk about how to actually implement SSE in the real world.
All right, let's get practical. So the first step is to really understand your organization's needs
Okay.
and the security challenges you're facing.
So assess the current situation.
Exactly. You need to ask yourself a few questions.
Like what?
What are your most critical assets? Where are your users located? What kinds of cloud applications are you using?
Okay, so it's about getting a clear picture of the landscape.
Yeah, like what are your biggest security concerns right now?
It's like planning a renovation.
Right.
If you don't just start knocking down walls,
Right.
you need a blueprint.
You need to understand the existing structure.
Yeah, and know exactly what you're trying to achieve.
Exactly. You need a clear understanding of your starting point and your desired outcome.
Okay, so once you have that, what's next?
Then you can start evaluating different SSE solutions.
Okay.
And see which one best aligns with your specific needs and resources.
We talked earlier about the multi-vendor versus unified solutions approaches.
Right.
What factors should companies consider when making that decision?
That's a big decision. If you have a large IT team with deep expertise
Okay.
and you need a highly customized solution,
Yeah.
then a multi-vendor approach might be the way to go.
Okay, so you have more control over each component.
Exactly. You can pick and choose the best solutions for each specific need.
That sounds pretty complex.
It can be. It requires a lot of in-house expertise to integrate and manage all those different pieces.
So for a smaller company
Yeah.
with a less experienced IT team,
Right.
a unified solution would probably be a better fit.
Most likely, a unified platform is much easier to deploy and manage,
Okay.
which can be a huge advantage for organizations with limited resources.
It's like having one central control panel
Exactly.
instead of juggling a bunch of different tools.
That's a good way to put it.
So, regardless of which approach you choose, what are some of the key features to look for in an SSE solution?
You definitely want to make sure it has robust access control.
Okay, so that's a must-have.
Yeah. Then you also want data security features like encryption and data loss prevention.
Right, to protect the actual information.
Exactly. And of course, threat protection mechanisms to block malware and phishing attacks.
So it's like having multiple layers of defense.
Yes. And don't forget about comprehensive security monitoring.
Okay, so it's about making sure all the essential bases are covered.
It is.
But beyond those core features, what else should companies consider?
Well, cloud-native architecture is becoming increasingly important
Okay, why is that?
because it offers scalability, flexibility, and ease of management.
So you can adapt to changing needs more easily.
Exactly.
And of course, budget is always a factor.
You need to make sure the solution fits within your financial constraints.
It's a lot to think about, but it sounds like the right SSE solution can really pay off.
It can.
Stronger security, simplified management, peace of mind.
It's a worthwhile investment.
Okay, so let's talk about implementation.
All right.
Are there any best practices or tips you can share to ensure a smooth rollout?
One of the best things you can do is start with a pilot project.
A pilot project, okay.
Yeah, focus on a specific group of users or applications
Mm-hmm.
and test the SSE solution in a controlled environment.
So it was like a test run before you go live with everything.
Exactly. It allows you to work out any kinks, fine-tune configurations, and gather feedback.
Okay, so it's a dress rehearsal.
Yeah, before the big opening night.
Makes sense. What else?
Once you're ready for the wider rollout,
Mm-hmm.
make sure to prioritize training and user adoption.
Okay, so people actually know how to use the new system.
Exactly. You need to explain to your IT team and end users why you're implementing SSE.
Right. The why behind it.
Yeah, how it works and how it benefits them.
So it's not just about the technology.
Yeah.
It's about bringing people along on the journey
Exactly. People are more receptive to change when they understand the reasons behind it.
and see how we'll make their lives easier.
Right.
Okay, so training and communication are key.
Definitely. And remember to keep everyone informed throughout the whole process.
Right, transparent communication.
Yes. Address any challenges openly and celebrate successes along the way.
So to wrap up our deep dive into SSE,
Yeah.
we've gone from the basics to the future and now to the practical steps of making it a reality.
It's been a journey.
It has. What's the one key message you want our listeners to take away from this conversation?
I think the most important takeaway is that SSE represents a fundamental shift in how we approach security.
Okay.
It's about moving away from that outdated idea of a fixed perimeter.
Right, the castle and moat model is gone.
Exactly. We need to embrace a more dynamic and adaptive security model.
That can keep up with the changing threat landscape.
Precisely. And that means prioritizing data protection, user empowerment, and continuous improvement.
SSE is not just a technology.
Right.
It's a whole new way of thinking about security.
It is, and it's essential for thriving in today's digital world.
It's not a destination, it's a journey.
Well said. And SSE is a powerful tool that can help organizations navigate that journey successfully.
Well, this has been an incredible deep dive.
I agree.
We've learned so much about SSE, and I hope our listeners feel equipped to tackle the challenges of cybersecurity head-on.
Me too. It's been a pleasure sharing my insights.
And as you continue exploring, remember that the best security is a combination of technology, strategy, and continuous learning.
Stay curious, stay informed, and stay secure.
That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into SSE. We'll be back soon with another exploration of a cutting-edge topic shaping the future of technology. Until then, stay curious.